it's your boy John SnapBack back here with another episode of the Sunday SnapBack, episode 2. Before we get into the meat potato of today's video, please go show my social media links, some love in the description box below. I told you guys I was going to be back with another guest, and I was not a liar. You cannot say that I was. Ms. Ray, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and tell them what you're about?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jonte, last name Ray. I am a registered nurse by trade. I am a holistic nurse by passion and mission. I go by the Holy Soul Nurse, and I've been in healthcare for over a decade. I nursed for over 7 years, and I met John here, and he asked me the lovely question of what do I think about nursing and as a career it being declassified as a professional degree. And so I'm excited to get into this topic.
Well, I'm glad that you are. What exactly does it mean for your nursing degree to be downgraded from a professional degree to, I guess, non-professional status now?
Yeah, non-professional status. Other than just being really petty, I think for the bigger picture of things, and I had to kind of do my research on it because I kind of giggled when I saw that, as well as the other feelings that came up about it. But it really changes, it's always down to the money, right? So it changes what you can borrow as a professional degree. It cuts it in half. So if I was able to borrow $100,000 towards my degree as a nurse, now I can only borrow 50 for the nursing degree, and anything above that, like if I wanted to further my career, if I wanted to go on to be an MP or a nurse anesthetist or anything like that, it caps it at like 100,000. If that's a number, it cuts it in half. So what that tells me is, one, we're not encouraging nurses to further our education, which is dangerous because at the end of the day, that trickles down into the care of the community and care of the population. I went to find out, in my research why that was so, and the press release was something from the Department of Education, was something about decreasing the debt as part of decreasing the debt of the administration in the big beautiful bill. And that had me thinking that, well, why isn't this and they also made the comment that it would force institutions to decrease their tuition costs.
Okay.
Okay, that could work. But why isn't there more, instead of coming from a side of restriction, why isn't there more of a collaborative effect to lower the cost of education, to help people more to get into these programs, to further their education, to, have more leadership and have more representation in these places where we need them as the people that are taking care of the people. It's just not quite sure, other than this will deter nurses from furthering their education and ultimately deter marginalized groups for pursuing further education.
Man, so I didn't really know there was like a certain cap or limit of funds, and maybe I should have per se, and that might have been more common sense.
Yeah.
So you might have to excuse me on that, but I didn't know that would affect the amount of resources available for anyone.
Yeah.
To just go to have a fighting chance to go through that journey of going through school and
right.
I guess getting into class, maybe buying books, things like that. I had no idea.
And that's another thing, like they, to cut that in half, we think about, okay, tuition is one thing, but what else do I need in order for me to be successful in this degree, right? Like I worked during nursing school, but that was a hard thing. And a lot of people, that was a hard thing. And I had a lot of support. But you think about people who maybe don't have that setup. So especially if I wanted to further my degree, like there are certain programs where you can't work. Like I think the nurse anesthetist program, you're not supposed to work doing that program.
Is that required? Like, is that a rule or?
It's a rule, but I mean it's really frowned upon. You're supposed to make a commitment to the program itself and not to, because rightfully so, right? You're going through this rigorous program, and anything work, all those things, those are distractions. And to work as a nurse, that's no easy feat right there. So you're exhausted, you're overworked, you're tired, all these things. How could you properly put yourself into school? So having programs that allow you to borrow money and have the funds that you need to live on top of successfully complete the program, that is also something that comes up with these caps that is being placed on, whether it's a professional degree or it's a non-professional degree. What's even more how do I put this? What's even more, I don't want to say hurtful, but daunting to me is that nursing meets all previous criteria for being a professional degree. So all of a sudden, it's not a professional degree.
If you don't mind me asking, and you might not know, and that's fine. Like, what's the criteria?
From what I was reading, for what they use to declassify it as a professional degree, is that you have to have a certain amount of years of schooling to do it. It can't be a trade or anything that you just come out of school with. Like, we have to take boards. There's a board certification for it. So criteria like that, nursing still meets that criteria. So as far as it not being judged a professional degree, now we have to look into reasons why, other than, we're just trying to decrease the amount of debt that happens from, education.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was kind of always told, this might be a dumb thing to say. Mm-hmm. People always say, they like to say now, like, college or school is just a scam. It depends on, I would like to say it depends on your field of study.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a situation where you get out of school and you realize the math ain't mathing. Like, I did all this school. I got all these years. I have this debt, these loans that you tell me I have to pay back. And then my salary or what I'm being paid doesn't equate to me being able to take that on and still live. So yeah, from that standpoint of view, I can see why people are saying school is a scam. Also, just the whole institutionalizing of different systems. Like I said, nursing for me, nursing is in my blood. Like I am a nurse because I come from a line of caregivers. I come from a line of women that always have taken care. So, nursing was something that's natural for me, but I like to tell people, if that's not, you can make money doing other things,
Absolutely.
And you can make money besides going and giving your life to college or whatever for those amount of years. So I don't think it's a scam per se. I just don't think it's the only way available that makes sense. And it's definitely not the way available that makes sense if you have certain passions that you want to pursue, especially now. The world's like wide open, and I'm kind of hopeful because we're definitely in a time and a place where people are doing what they want to do and doing what they want the way they want, and like that plays big for me because I felt like after COVID in particular, I decided that I wanted the way I served and the way I showed up in my career to look a certain way. And that's why I got into holistic nursing, holistic coaching and consulting. So definitely hopeful in that way. But I still think if you want to go to college, by all means, go to college. I enjoyed my time in college. I went to Loyola, so.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know
I
that.
enjoyed my time, so yeah.
Okay. So let's say I was a nursing student, or wanted to be. I was an aspiring nursing student, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to go basically become an RN like yourself.
Okay.
With the new changes to the professional status of the degree, like what would be a hurdle or two I might have to face now, in your opinion, as to transitioning from aspiring nurse actually trying to get into school? Because I've heard that's just a process alone. And I don't know if that's affected by the degrees that's being changed, but I'm just curious because I was told, hey, you might want to go to school to be a nurse, but that was from another nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
Which, Dion, if you're watching, hello. But she did tell me that, and I thought about it once. But I said, I just never thought about being a nurse necessarily.
I think coming in, like I said, placing those caps there, and I'm sure that other barriers come along with that, but I would really have to check the numbers to see. I don't remember how much nursing school was back, but I'm sure it has increased as everything does. That's another thing, like, we want to decrease this, increase that, but everything goes up exponentially, so it's there, that creates a further gap there. So for somebody going to nursing school, you have to have a certain number of prereqs, and then getting into the program. So that's a lot of time and money invested. And my fear is towards that, and especially with everything going on in nursing right now, with the nursing burnout, and how nursing is right now, that might deter people from even wanting to go into nursing, or even considering if it's even worth it, other than I genuinely have a passion for this. So I think that having those caps, because as much as we say money doesn't make the world go round, but that's a huge obstacle. That's a huge hurdle. Absolutely. That you would have to overcome just to be able to go through the program.
Well, you said nursing burnout, because my mom kind of latched to that. So give me some insight on that, because I didn't hear of such thing, and maybe it's because I've been living under a rock the last couple of years or days or months. So shed some light on that.
So I think we're kind of tired. We're tired. Nursing is a lot, as is any career that you are responsible for somebody's life in a significant way, right? So your health, teachers, responsible for children and their education. So any career where you're responsible for somebody's life in a significant way, there is a huge risk for like burnout, for just being tired, exhausted. And what we're seeing now is that we don't have the systems that are in place, are not beneficial for us to perform at optimal, of what we need to provide the care that we need, but also take care of ourselves. So I think that that's something that is playing a big role in people's decision to even, take that on. If I go into a career where I know that I'm going to be exhausted, I'm going to be not necessarily treated fairly, not necessarily compensated for what I'm worth, then what's the point, Or even care for, even given the resources to make sure that I can replenish myself. Again, I think that it's a trickle down thing, because even with that, when I saw that they were making those caps on the loans, and that's coming from the Department of Education that's declassifying it, it's very restrictive. It's always very restrictive, and it seems like there's no room for collaboration or care or concerns. And it makes me think like, okay, well, that's why we need nurses to further educations, or also be in those rooms to make those decisions. Because was a nurse even, present or thought of, or was there even a collaboration to see, would this? Because if the goal overall was to get institutions to lower their tuition to be competitive, well, did anybody consult the people that was going to affect? So there's no collaboration. It's more so of a restriction based approach all the time, seems to be.
Well, thank you for shedding light on that. Like I said, I had no idea, and it makes me feel like I've been just out of touch with a few things. And I'm probably only also saying that because me coming from EMS background,
I was supposed to say, y'all don't experience that?
So to be fair, I've been off the truck for like going on like 3 years now.
Why?
Because the pay.
Okay.
And because of what you have to deal with, it just is not, in my opinion. But again, I'm not a paramedic, of course, right? But even if I was, I don't know what they make. But I know me being where I'm at now is a lot less stressful. It's a lot easier on my body, of course.
Right.
A lot more benefits, a lot more perks.
Exactly.
And so the promised land I think I reside in currently will never have been attainable being an EMS unless significant changes were made.
Yeah.
But again, being in that bubble, you don't really see outside that bubble per se, unless you have a friend or someone that you know that can shed the light on these things. But I would not go back just because of how stressful it is.
Yeah, and everything you're saying, like that trickle that goes on up the line. Like we're just as stressed out when y'all drop the patients off, and
so it doesn't stop.
Just as stressed out. And my thing is, I don't expect like that's what I want in my career life. I want reciprocity. I want a mutual beneficial relationship. And to be honest, I don't expect a patient that's sick or, in some form of way or having some form of disease to be able to give me reciprocity. Yes, they're stressed. Yes, it's all about them at this moment. But the people that I work for, the people that I give that time and that energy to make their business successful and make everything still run, yes, I expect it to be a reciprocity there. So I expect you to care about my wellness and my health in all facets, my financial health, my personal health, my emotional health, my mental health, my spiritual health. I expect you to care about that. And that's not what we're getting. And like I said, that's even from up there, because if you cut funding, then you're not worrying about what then do I have to do to get those funds if I want to pursue this career. Yeah.
So is there like a union for nurses? I'm unaware if there's not.
There's a union here, and I won't speak any. As one of my instructors used to say, at a hospital somewhere in America. So I'll say a hospital somewhere in Louisiana. There is a union, and there is a lot of struggles with that because it's only at one hospital that's part of a bigger group of hospitals. So there's a lot that's an uphill battle.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, I have to ask, like, why do you think? Because now we get into the nitty-gritty of things.
Okay.
Like, why do you even think that this has happened in the first place?
I think for nursing, and I have to speak from, me as this is what I know.
Okay.
And intuitively, this is what I feel. You have a career or you have a profession that's very heavily female dominated.
Okay.
I'm talking, some say 83%, some say 90%, but that's the vast majority.
Okay.
And so when you have that and you have stems in place, right? And I'm just going to go for the big two that are in place because we have a couple of them, but you have racism and you have sexism, right? When you have, and the more stems you have stacked up against you, the more it feels like it's a personal attack, right? So if we go for those big two, then if you have a predominantly female dominated profession, and we know the wars on pay, the gaps in pay and all those things, gaps in respect, women in workforce and everything like that, that's where it feels personal, and it feels like this is just another tool or rhetoric to know your place. Now compound that I am a black woman in America. It feels real personally.
So I was going to ask about that. So you kind of just answered the next question, because I've been seeing a lot of TikToks, some Instagram stories, of course, too, and some on Facebook. But the majority of the videos I've run across on TikTok have said, or the majority of I've run across have said, and it's primarily women of color, have said that they feel as if the main contributor as to why this is taking place is because of the fact that too many of them, or you guys, have professional degrees in this field of study. So what are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, intuitively, of course, that's how it feels. But I can only speak for myself. But if you look at all the statistics and you look at things, it might not outright say it, that yeah, this is it, but everything kind of leads in that role that this is to put another obstacle in place for women, and particularly women of color, like I said. And that goes back to the more systems, or stems I call them, that you have rooted against you. So sexism and racism would be two big ones. The more obstacles you have in front of you, and the more obstacles that they're going to place in front of you, because as long as they keep perpetuating those systems, then the people that are affected by it are the ones that are most marginalized, which would be black women, in my case, black women in America. So yeah, it's but also, have you met black women in America? We always find a way. So
yeah. Okay, I was gonna say, is that like a real question?
No, it's not a real question. It's not
yeah.
a real question, but yes, we always find a way. So even this feels more like, in the long run, again, it's gonna hurt us as a society more than it hurts. It will hurt black women in America, because we figure it out. We always have. Like I said, this is part of my bloodline. And this is part of my bloodline because, what's the saying, that if I could see further, it's because I stood on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that, that's something that they'll never be able to take away. But what we will end up doing is further hurting ourselves as a society, because it's important to have us in these places. Because not only does those stems exist in the institutions as far as workforce, but it exists still very much so in the hospital systems, and having marginalized groups that have had to create their own health practice and health institutions and ways of health and ways of living, because these systems are not geared towards taking care of people like us. So you further create that gap where it's just gonna get further and further. But like I said, that only hurts us as a whole people. Ultimately, that's not gonna hurt one group or another. That's gonna hurt us as a whole.
Have you heard from any other nurses about their own feelings and or thoughts about?
Yeah, I mean, I have a strong sisterhood of nursing friends, and it's just, like I said, more so that this is just another thing, and like I said, we're retired, but we're also hopeful, and we also are putting things in place and plans in place to do things our way, and then also not accepting what it is anymore, or not being gaslighted, or not them with the t-shirts and the free pizza, it's not that's not enough. So Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we'll figure it out, and I'm also hopeful that, um, in the way that I want to do things, that my goal and my mission is to get people to take care of our health, so that these systems are great, and Western or modern medicine is great, and it has its time and its place, but we really need to get back to who we are to find our wellness, as a people and as the human race. So I'm very hopeful for that.
Wow. Such a beautiful way that you put a bow
Mm-hmm.
on everything that you said is just. I'm just saying it because I can see the passion, I can feel it
Mm-hmm.
as I talk to you. We spoke on this before. Like today's a brand new day, and you
Yeah.
come with brand new energy. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So thank you
Yeah.
for shedding a light on all these things
Yeah.
I had no idea about.
Yeah.
One thing I am curious about, and maybe I should know better. Like, so you said you're a holistic nurse. So like,
Yes.
give me like, what's the difference?
Okay.
I should probably know, but
Okay.
I just can't think of it.
Okay. So the difference, there is not supposed to be a difference, right? Because healthcare is supposed to be holistic, but healthcare is really not, the hospital is really not a place for that. So so holism sees me as a whole person,
Okay.
not just somebody who's coming in a hypertensive crisis that, okay, let me give you this medicine to stabilize this and send you on your way. Because holism realizes that, hey, I have a stressful job that put me in this hypertensive crisis. I have family life that I'm dealing with. I'm taking care of this person that put me in this crisis. All of these things. So for me, holism is looking at me as the whole person and everything that goes into who I am that affects every facet of my health. And I like to say that you have many different facets of health. You have your physical health. So that's mostly what the being at bedside is, what you're taking care of.
Okay.
And for me as a nurse, I'm taking care of somebody's physical health, right? What I see before me. But that person also has their mental health. They also have their emotional health. They also have their spiritual health. They also have their financial health. They also have their occupational health. They also have their environmental health. They also have their social health. So all of these things go into making a whole person. And just because I'm here now addressing the physical health, that doesn't mean that doesn't address the whole picture. And that might not even be what helps in the end, right? So, and neither do I expect, because the hospital, you have hundreds and hundreds of other patients. So neither do I expect you to be able to address those whole facets of health at the bedside. But that further carries into, okay, what type of relationships do we have established with healthcare providers? Do you have a therapist? Do you believe in therapy? Do you have a spiritual system? Do you believe in anything spiritual? How are your finances? Because we know if those physical needs are not met, that I have food, water, shelter, all these things, forget about everything else. I'm not, even worrying about that. I'm in a survival mode. So how do we get to a place where people are thriving in health and thriving in their wellness and living, and not just, going about the motions and going about the days and just putting band-aids on things and patching things up and leaving it at that, or even more so, having the hope to know that I am a divine entity, that I am built towards wellness. My body is built towards wellness, and my wellness is different from your wellness. So like when I say systems that are not necessarily built for us, I know as a Black woman, there are not many studies that are tailored towards my health, because, they don't put the money into that resource. So when I go to a doctor or, a provider, and there's something going on with me, they don't have the answers, and I might not have the answers either. But what it needs to be is a collaborative effect to find out, to see, because that's what it is. It's a container. It's not I come in, this is the provider, and I have to do everything the provider says. And then we also have that relationship with the healthcare system where it's either the provider is God and what they say is Bible, or I don't trust anything that you have to say at all, right?
Okay.
And so how do we create this system where it's a collaborative effect, where you feel supported, where I have expertise, right? I did go to school, so I do have certain education on things, or the whole picture of things. But how do I convey that education in a way that applies to you, that you know that, and then that you can make decisions based on your life and your health and your wellness that makes sense to you. So that's holism in a nutshell for me. And I love that you asked me that question, because I promise everybody thinks it's hugging trees, doing yoga, and drinking lemongrass shots, which I do all those things. But I understand that's not for everybody, and that's not what holistic wellness is.
Okay.
It is tailored towards a person. You just have to find your individual wellness.
Man, well, to be honest, I was thinking along like that earthy line, because I mean you hear the jokes, you see the memes and stuff, so it's like anything that's been processed or manufactured should not be touched, should not be involved.
Yes.
You know, if it is, it's blasphemy. You know, that type of thing. So that's why I was thinking you were gonna go with it, but you just gave a whole ensemble of everything. So I appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure the viewers do as well. Do you have like any closing thoughts in regards to this topic, or anything that's a derivative of that you want to share? Like any aspiring nursing students that might be watching, because they could be, or that might see this. Any MPs, any current nurses.
I think for my fellow nurses, we are a different breed. We only understand, and I just would like to see, and we do. I would like to see us more supportive of each other, and knowing that for me, I got into nursing because I saw all the different avenues that I could do, that I can go down.
Okay.
And I love that. And I think that the more they try to stuff us into this box, or the more they try to silence us, I just want us to realize that we do have the autonomy, that this is a profession that's worthy of your time. This is also a profession that's worthy of you getting paid, and you getting paid well, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. Give a lot in this profession, and like I said, it's like any profession where you take care of a significant portion of somebody's well-being. There's a lot that's taken out of you. And I also want to see us prioritize ourselves more, because most of the time, if you are a nurse, that profession doesn't stop in the hospital. You are a caregiver. And like I said, the line of caregivers I come from, some of them are professional nurses, some of them are not, So that's just something that's in a person. And then also, if you do it well, you do it well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like there's
absolutely.
no corners cut. So I just want to see us further ourselves, take care of ourselves, and prioritize ourselves, and support our nurses coming in, or anybody who wants to take on this profession, because it is a very special profession, and I am very grateful for what I do. And I just want to see us grow despite all obstacles, and despite what anybody says. You are both. This is both a professional and a purposeful and a personal profession. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Ms. Ray. I really appreciate it. Guys,
Thanks
please go watch the. Very welcome, of course, always. Go watch the edited version Sunday after 7 Central Standard Time. Yeah, give me some time to edit it, of course. Next week, I'll be back here with maybe another guest or two. Just depends on their availability. But until next time, y'all be blessed.